I know what my dad wants for Father's Day, so I'm the expert when it comes to this. Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Here's how you make Dad very, very happy this Father's Day. Omaha Steaks. Packages starting at just $89 when you go to omahasteaks.com and use my promo code ZEOLI at checkout. ZEOLI. Father's Day's almost here. You gotta get cracking on this, all right? You can pick from premium proteins like juicy pork chops, air-chilled chicken, beefy burgers, and obviously the best steaks out there. Endless flavor, endless variety, and endless value. omahasteaks.com. Promo code ZEOLI at checkout. That's how you get the packages starting at $89. And you don't want to wait on this. And trust me, Dad does not want anything else but this amazing food. Because he can have the family around the grill. We love to grill. Makes us feel like a guy, manly, you know what I mean? So do it today. Just go to omahasteaks.com. Packages starting at $89 when you go to omahasteaks.com and use my promo code ZEOLI at checkout. omahasteaks.com.
Lexus of Cherry Hill, a 6-time J.D. Power dealer of excellence for customer service. Why would you buy your Lexus from anyone else? The 2024 Lexus models are here and moving fast, and the newly redesigned 2024 Lexus GX has arrived. Tony Labello and his team are your source for the Lexus of your dreams. Over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock. You deserve a Lexus and award-winning customer service. Start your journey with family-owned and operated Lexus of Cherry Hill.
For J.D. Power dealer of excellence information, visit jdpower.com/US-DOE.
Baseball season is heating up. With the free Odyssey app, you can get the most entertaining local coverage of your team while you're at work or on the go. Stay locked in the know with your favorite hosts as they bring you unfiltered takes, react to the latest team news, and talk to callers. Don't miss any of the action. Stream the shows you love live or on demand with the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Download it today for free.
Calling on Percy to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
It's Dom Money Melody.
Where has all the money gone?
Show me the money.
All right, Dan, let's hear the clue again today and tell us what we're looking for.
We're looking for the cover artist, Dom, one of the greatest musicians, allegedly, of all time, that I think is quite overrated, Dom, performing here at the Super Bowl. A Webby Lifetime Achievement Award for being the first to ever release, or first major artist to ever release an album online on the internet. Take a listen.
All right, let's go to Robin in Huntington Valley. Robin, who is it?
That's Prince.
Wow, I never would have guessed that in a million years. Dan, he was the first. I'll put you on hold, Robin. You are the winner.
Yeah, 1997's Crystal Ball, Dom, was the first ever big major artist release of an entire album. And again, that he was quoted as being visionary, and that's why he received the Webby Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2006 on this day. But I think a little bit overrated, Dom, known as one of the best musicians of all time, but there's nothing that really impresses me too much about the guy.
I
think it's more...
it's overrated.
Like, I've always thought it's kind of more the persona, the aura around Prince than it is...
showmanship.
Yeah, but I'm going to get trashed on Twitter because Prince fans are vicious.
I would agree with you, and I don't know chapter and verse, but I would agree with you. All right, breaking news, the Federal Reserve has left the key interest rate situation unchanged, but they're sending signals with today's news on inflation month over month, the month of May, to be potentially something could happen down the road. So the politics of it, we'll see how it plays out when we get to September, sometime around there, what they do. But the market today really spiked, and then we've seen a little bit moving back a little bit on this news. All right, but here's Vice President Harris that we've talked about a lot recently. She's at a forum today around money. Dan tells me, first of all, Scott Presler, he'll be next on the show on Friday. He's got a lot to report, apparently, Dan, including Amber Rose trying to hook up. She's a Trump supporter to do a voter registration. But you tell me he's taking on Philly Dems on Twitter over what?
Yeah, so Malcolm Kenyatta tweeted, I'm voting for a good man, a good dad, and a good president, Joe Biden, this November. Scott subtweets it and writes, to any black men that live in Malcolm's district, I'm asking you to vote for Donald Trump. Philly has been controlled by Democrats for decades, and the community is getting poorer, crime is worse, and families are broken. It's time for a black renaissance in America. Vote Trump.
All right. We'll see when Mr. Malcolm Kenyatta, who's been on the show, Dan, not recently, how he responds. Presler, our featured guest, of course, a week from Friday at Mulligan's, the Summer White House, right there in Wildwood, noon until 3. We have a lot of friends of the show, a lot of people saying they wouldn't miss it.
Fun. You don't miss this.
And a great band and other surprises. Well, we got that from... what's her name today? The real Guido, the lead singer of the Duprees, wants to join in, Dan. Now we're having groups that are wanting to audition for you, Dan. You got a whole side business. Here is Kamala Harris, though, with all this going on, saying, hey, when you're in debt, it's like a Venn diagram. Life can be tough. That's why we forgave. That's why we forgave student loan debt. Here's Vice President Harris.
Our philosophy is that we want people to not just be able to get by, but get ahead. And debt is one of those things that holds people back from getting ahead. So we decided to take on, for example, the issue of student loan debt. I will say that here at this incredible HBCU, one of the things we know is that black students are more likely to be Pell Grant recipients and take out student loans and endure for years, if not decades, student loan debt. And what that does to then hold back their ability to aspire to have a family, buy a home. So we decided to take it on, and not without great opposition from people in Washington, D.C. Let's be clear about that. They didn't want this. They said, well, I got mine, you should be able to do yours. Instead of taking into account, again, what we have already discussed in terms of where people start. Not everybody starts out on the same base, right? And that's part of our mentality in thinking about this. So we have now forgiven over $160 billion in student loan debt, benefiting about 5 million people. I have met just today people who have had their student loan debt forgiven. Please testify.
Please cackle.
And what it has meant, for example, we've also doubled the amount of student loan debt that we have forgiven for public servants, such as firefighters, nurses, teachers. God knows we don't pay them enough as it is. So this has been a game changer for so many. I've met now a number of teachers, for example, who came up to me with tears about how for decades they've been living with tens, if not as much as hundreds of thousands of student loan debt. But they loved teaching so much that they would not leave the profession, but they would tell me about other teachers who just couldn't afford, with those salaries being so low, and that debt, to get by. So again, it's not only about our accomplishments on the issue of the creation of wealth. It's equally important, Bakari and Michael, to understand why.
Okay, let's stop here. The creation of wealth. You're married to a billionaire, right, or whatever he is. That's your creation of wealth. Give me a break. You didn't forgive anything. You put it on the back of taxpayers. And if Republicans, I'm looking at the polling, America rejects this. If Republicans cannot effectively articulate that and run on this and distinguish and talk about who people made decisions, all right? And again, I've said this many times. 30 years ago, you didn't know what you were getting into, yada, yada, yada. But say in the last 10 years, how many times do we have to prove to you, you can't just go and get into these enormously expensive private colleges, whatever they may be. Also, Ms. Harris, Vice President Harris, a lot of this student debt are master's degrees and added stuff. So let's Republicans sharpen this. Maybe they like to talk to me and Dan a little bit on this, because we've gone through this back and forth, and I have a passion to get to the bottom of this and give them some points they can make to bring up. You're not forgiving anything. You're buying votes with this, okay? So that's why I encourage Trump to talk about, we're not going to tax people on tips. Let's see what Biden says on that. Let's see how you counter that when we're taking care of people many times who can afford to pay this and are getting out of something. You're not creating wealth. You're putting a burden on other people to pay for this based on the decision. And I'm not even blaming the people who made the decision as much. I'm blaming big college and this rotten scam that they've created, a monopoly, and a monopoly of the mind where you can't advance unless you have a college degree. We're starting to see that peel back where more professions are saying, no, you don't need a college degree in order to get that foot in the door and all that stuff. They're not using that as something to keep you out. By the way, one quick poll that is just up, a Marist poll, Dan, and I'm going to piece this out coming up, and we'll have the lightning round too. 49% of people in this Marist poll, which is about 1,800 people, say that the jury was correct in convicting President Trump in the so-called hush money case. Yet, Trump, in the Marist poll, is still leading Pennsylvania 47-45. And he was only 1 point ahead the last time we had a Marist poll. So Trump is up more in the current Marist poll, even though almost a majority believe the jury was correct in convicting Trump. Now, some of these people are Democrats. They're not going to vote for Trump in that. But that means some of the independents and others here say, yeah, the jury was correct. He did it. But you know what? I'm still with Trump over Biden for whatever reason. So it is negligible what happened here with the verdict. I still think around the edges in a really, really tight race, it could matter. But as of now, this is not having much impact. We'll see as the summer goes on, but this poll in Pennsylvania, that's where I care about it, indicates Trump ahead by about what he was before or more, but they believe the jury was correct. Wow. All right, 855-839-1210. You can get on board. Let me tell you about Dr. Bentz. I've told you about my friend, dentist, prosthodontist, Dr. Robert Bentz. And yesterday, I was over there, you know, and I'm an observer. That's why I tell Ro, yeah, Ro, I'm an observer on this stuff. That's what I do. I observe. While I'm waiting to finish getting a temporary tooth to get the permanent one put in, I just observed some of the things that Dr. Bentz was doing with patients. He went into a room to have a meeting just on a process, a small process. That's what he does. It's comprehensive. Whether it's a routine visit or a multifaceted process, he and his staff sit down with you, create a clear plan, step by step. I've already told you about the infrastructure. I've told you yesterday the tooth fit perfectly. You know, usually you say, Doc, that tooth feels high. This one didn't have to do any of that clicking stuff. All right, let's shave it. Click, chop down more. You know, none of that. And if you have questions, if you've been putting off a dental problem, if you're finally ready to get the treatment that I get and get a great smile, now's the time to call Dr. Robert Bentz, the Bentz Dental Group. You will see the Bentz difference. Make that appointment today. Visit Bentz, B-E-N-T-Z, dentalgroup.com or call 610-272-6949, 610-272-6949.
Another pleasant day across the Delaware Valley with a mix of sun and clouds. High temperature right near average at 82. Tonight, comfortable under mostly clear skies. Low 65 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And for Thursday, plenty of sunshine, warmer and a bit more humid with a high 88.
Weather sponsored by Liberty Mutual.
Hi, we're Comparion Insurance Agency. Never heard of us? We know. But to help it stick that our local agents are insurance experts, we're going to say local agent 3 times in the next 5 seconds. Local agent, local agent, local agent.
Find us at ComparionInsurance.com.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized with help from Beacon. I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Your small business deserves a strong financial leader. More than an accounting firm, you need a professional who will focus on growth and profitability. With Styles CFO Services, now you can afford an experienced CFO at the fraction of the cost of a full-time CFO. Styles CFO Services offers surprisingly affordable hourly rates, no retainers, contracts, or minimums, and a complimentary 21-point financial assessment. Visit stylescfo.com. That's STILESCFO.com. Accelerate the growth of your bottom line today with Styles CFO Services.
Introducing the Honickman Center at Jefferson Health. Outpatient care designed by patients like you. Together, we're shaping the future of medicine, where advanced technology and comprehensive services ensure convenience and accessibility for all patients. Everything you need to simplify the complexity of care is available in one location. Uncompromising care, delivered by world-class physicians. To schedule an appointment, call 1-800-JEFF-NOW.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like, 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit NJDiet.com.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, it is Dom time. One note on Vice President Harris, too. We've talked a lot about this. Can you bypass her? I think Dan thinks so. He's in that camp. That's more what I'm going to put up on Twitter probably later today, because that's the only way. You have to bypass her if Biden's going to drop out and tag in somebody else. Now, Michelle Obama can bypass anybody with Democrats, I believe. But who else could bypass her? Well, a new poll out shows some of her strengths. I know that's hard to believe, but remember, these are Democrats and progressives we're talking about. They love what she's doing on reproductive rights. They love what she does on climate. And she polls better now. She didn't used to, but she polls better now than Biden when it comes to African-American Democrat voters. She is still slightly more unfavorable than Biden, which, Dan, that helps make your point. That's pretty hard to do. How can you be a little bit more radioactive than Joe Biden, right? Could they get her out of there? If they can get Biden out of there, can they get her out of there? But she's got the the card in the hole that she just can't bypass. I'd have to say, Dan, if that happens, and we'd all have to say maybe the Democrat Party is not as beholden to just identity type of things, race, gender. Well, I don't even know what they call it anymore because they can make up anything. That might prove that point. I'm in the camp that doubts it, though, and says, no way, you're not getting her out of there. You said Stacey Abrams. Right, would be somebody you thought. Newsom, I just think he's the last person in the world that's going to knock her out of there. And that's what you'd have to do. It's not just taking Biden out. It's also taking out Kamala Harris, which is a rare thing where you have to do both of them here. I can't even imagine it. how that would work. All right, let's go to Dave in Doylestown on the student loan thing. Hey, Dave, afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Dom. How are you?
Good.
Dom, I commented to your answering guy something about student loans that the Republicans should counter the student loan forgiveness with. Loan forgiveness in the eyes of the IRS, Dom, is called income.
Right.
When you have a loan forgiven, be it $100,000, for example, you're going to end up having to pay $30,000 in taxes at the end of that year that loan is forgiven. Why don't the Republicans get out and put that word out? This is not a good thing for any of these guys. Anybody who has a loan forgiveness probably doesn't have the money to pay the taxes on it.
All right, Dave, I hear you, but I'm not exactly sure on that. I think you're right. But you know what? If you get $100,000 forgiven, I don't know if anybody's getting quite that much, and then you have to pay that tax, I'm sure there is some part of this plan where they're going to allow you some sufferance over a period of time or whatever. Now, Kamala Harris, of all people, creating wealth. How could any Democrat out there go to a place and talk about creating wealth? They're the enemy of that. Jim told me this. A couple of people have texted me. You have a report in your newsroom version there about I think it's the North Wildwood Police, or is it Wildwood?
City of Wildwood Police, Dom.
Okay.
The Wildwood Police Department is aware of a social media post promoting a beach pop-up party for this weekend. They've taken preemptive measures to prevent the group from organizing the unsanctioned event and identified the organizers. Due to the preemptive efforts, the organizers have canceled the event on their social media sites. We are working with local and state agencies to promptly shut down this unsanctioned event if it takes place and hold our participants accountable. We encourage all rental property owners and motel owners in Wildwood to use extra precautions when renting during this weekend. These groups are known to take over rental properties and cause property damage. We'll provide additional information to the public as warranted. I hope they're not talking about Dom Giordano Day, Dom.
Wait a minute. No, I don't think so.
We are officially sanctioned. It's a day.
We're officially sanctioned by the city of Wildwood. Dan, I'll let this out of the bag, and we'll read it that day. I've been in contact with the Wildwood Information Bureau. They have one, and they are thrilled to put it out on social media and other things. Now, I suggested a billboard. I haven't gotten the final no on that yet. Wouldn't you like to see right on Rio Grande a giant billboard?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a picture that will be showing people of you and me from 2 or 3 years ago. I don't think we've aged a second.
No, it's
in
beautiful.
That picture.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
But, Dan, we got to get Mayor Ernie on because, this is going to cause trouble with Plotkin, who is the Attorney General, and all those, right? So there was going to be a unsanctioned beach party organized.
Yeah.
And I have a sense we're dealing with hundreds of people that could morph into thousands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And would they be charging people? We don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't know if they'd be charging people. What I instantly think back to is, remember, it was the last summer or the summer before, they had an unsanctioned event where someone on a golf cart was it killed or injured because they had street racers going up and down the streets.
You think it's related
I wonder,
to that, right?
Is it not the same kind of thing that they're trying to prevent from happening again in their town?
Right. Well, no, it wasn't a golf cart. These guys were going high speed right down Pacific Avenue or something like that, Dan. Unfortunately, I think 2 were killed. There was a multitude of trouble there in Wildwood, and every one of these idiots that go to these meetups came up and down the East Coast to go to Wildwood. Mr. Attorney General, I'm waiting, Dan, and we're breaking this first. Thanks to Jim for seeing this or texted, and Dan, you too, that here we go again. And I'm sure we're going to hear, well, what do they mean? You can't, the whole thing again with being under siege, be it in Gloucester Township, be it in Ocean City, be it in Wildwood. The most recent was over in Pennsauken. You're seeing these mobs of kids where police can't break them up until they actually start doing something. And they're under the gun because of Murphy and this Attorney General, and they continue to do it. So way to go, Mayor Ernie. Dan, no more on that. Is that reported from the city of Wildwood, or what's the source?
So I'm looking at a story from June 5th, too,
Right.
that allegedly Long Branch, there was one that was advertised for June 8th in Long Branch, and they shut that one down as well. So this is apparently up and down the Jersey Shore. There's these unsanctioned beach parties popping up on social media. I don't know if it's tied at all to those street racers, but after what we saw on Memorial Day and what we saw there, I can only, encourage expressing caution.
I mean, they're saying a beach party. Well, you can be on the beach. So what's the objection per se? Are they charging? Is there something with this that's an add-on to just showing up? You can go to the beach and call it a beach party all you want, Dan, right? That's not illegal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something apparently that's involved with this that is out of bounds.
So I'm reading this is Long Branch, a story from NJ.com, but the Long Branch's experiences while pop-up parties began in May 2022 when one drew up to an estimated 5,000 people to Pier Village, a luxury oceanfront mixed-use development that consists of 500 residences, about 30 restaurants and shops, and 2 hotels. Most attendees arrived by train. Multiple fights were reported among partygoers, and, quote, one flashbang and the deployment of smoke was used by the State Department of Corrections officers assisting at the scene. So
all right. So I still think, Dan, when these people do this stuff, there's some kind of charging or something, too, that goes on. And again, why can't police just break that up when it's there under their own authority? We know why. We know the Murphy Directive and those Attorney General directives. That's why. Hey, tip of the hat to Dan and Jim. Thank you, too, Jim. Because, this is the type of stuff we try to do here. We got tips from people on this. And we'll then try to develop it tomorrow, if you get Mayor Ernie on, to tell us explicitly what this is about. It's got to be chilling, given what's already going on.
So I have now a Courier Post article that mentions the pop-up car rally in Wildwood. September 2022 was when that was.
Right.
But also in May, they pushed back. I don't know if this is the same organizer, but, quote, Big Money Juan, who organizes these pop-up parties, and online ads for the party promised dance battles, twerking contests, beer pong, and boxing matches.
Dan, would you send? Wait a minute. All right.
Yeah.
The twerking contest. We have to send observers over there for that, Dan. But the boxing match. Can you imagine, Dan? People drinking, 5,000 of them, boxing matches and twerking contest on the beach in Wildwood. And wait a minute. Well, it's not on Dom Giordano weekend.
Jim, are you DJing this thing? Were you?
Yeah.
Were you
no, there was no calls for me to DJ this. I might be willing to do it for the sake of the show, just to.
To get inside the boxing match. Dan, but notice they didn't do it on Dom Giordano weekend. It's not just a day now. You don't dare defy that day in Wildwood.
I'm actually going to be in Wildwood on Dom Giordano weekend.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. We'll get full reports on that. All right. Coming up, lightning round. Be ready. That all-time quote that moved the world, or at least shook it up. This is the day Ronald Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Straight ahead, Talk Radio 1210.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Is there anybody out there that would be worse than Elvis for you?
If there's anybody out there who wants to torture me.
Springsteen.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine a week of Springsteen
Let's
music?
do Bruce. Does Madonna trigger you?
Yeah, I don't like her either.
Okay. Do you want to put together a list of the artists that trigger you the most? We'll just keep rattling off things for charity. Just create the list of everything you hate in the world.
Bruce would do it. John Mellencamp.
Okay.
He's another one. About Jack and Diane.
It's all for a great cause.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Crash-proof consumers, like Donna McMacken, know that the double-digit interest credited to their accounts is protected and available to access without penalty.
With Crash Proof Retirement, I know that my money is totally safe. I stand to gain and brought in 11%. That was interest credited to my account. And I have the opportunity with Crash Proof for that to continue to compound. Even with taking my required distributions, I could withdraw crash-proof income. There are no fees charged. Even though I've been retired a number of years and I'm not making a salary, I have my investments with crash-proof, and that's making me money while I enjoy my retirement.
Only Crash-proof Retirement can guarantee peace of mind in a legally binding, recorded financial meeting. Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Downingtown Country Club, July 23rd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
when you need to know. Depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
NBA Hall of Famer and bassist for the league's logo, Jerry West, has died at 86. The French Open king Rafael Nadal and reigning champ Carlos Alcaraz will play doubles together for Spain at the Olympics. An animal rights activist vandalized the portrait of King Charles with the head of Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. If you drive a car, you want it to last a long time and not cost you lots of money in the long run. You need to get your car serviced at United Tire and Service. I get my car serviced at one of their 10 locations throughout the Delaware Valley. You should too. Right now, get an oil change on any make or model, and they'll do a free summer trip check so you're ready to hit the road. 20-point safety check, brakes, belts, important fluid levels, lights, even the spare tire. To find the location nearest you, go to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navien tankless water heaters?
Tankless? How does that even work?
Well, instead of constantly heating and storing water, it only heats water when we need it. So much more efficient than our giant tank heater.
That sounds great. Let's look into Navien.
Already on it.
Imagine all the hot water you need only when you need it. Bulky tanks are history. Navien high-efficiency tankless is the future. Compact, wall-hung units free up floor space, lower energy bills, longer life than tanks, and a 15-year warranty. Find out more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
All right, the wheels are in motion on this Wildwood story. You don't want to miss it tomorrow. We'll have full details. But let's go to Robert in Ben Salem on the side question. Robert, what's up on the board's already been said. Do you have another one?
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
I do know that it doesn't surprise me Democrats want pinch runners. I wish they would use pinch runners when they ran for office. But then it occurs to me that they did that with the Boyles, didn't they? They used a pinch runner.
That's right. And also no uniforms. They reject that. You can wear whatever you want. Oh, man, this is going to be good tomorrow.
Biden, Dom, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Now that my answer's off the board, I'm just going to go with something right off the top of my head, and that's not your father. How's that?
Okay.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Joe in Columbus. Joe, what's yours?
Hey, Dom, this tip proposal is simply ingenious. He's showing people how there's no elite that serves a table in a restaurant. This tells everybody he's catering to the middle class.
Yeah. Oh, no. I sanction this and also putting it on your receipt when you fill it out. So, Joe, what's your show? Joe, I apologize.
Okay.
Limited time, though.
Mine is A Day That'll Live in Infamy.
Yep, that's a great one. Absolutely. Kevin in Bucks might be a contender. Dan? Kevin, what's yours?
Hey, Dom. As Donald Trump said, you're fired.
Oh.
Yes.
That has multiple implications.
And apparently in a new book out, Dan, he didn't come up with that. They wanted him to say that. He worked into it.
Really?
Yeah, on the behind the scenes of The Apprentice. I'll tell you, the first year of The Apprentice, Dan, was magic. I can remember every moment of it. Joe in Exton. Imagine Joe as a boss. Joe, what do you have?
Yes, hello, Dom, and good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Joe.
The former Democrat of Louisiana, James Carville, used to go around shouting, "It's the economy, stupid."
Absolutely. They had it on the walls there in Little Rock where the headquarters were. Stay on message. It's the economy, stupid. Earl in Tacony, or Tom Jones as he's known around the office. Earl, what's yours today?
I'm not an impersonator, I'm a mimic. And now I have to learn the Duprees as well now. But, I was going to go with the second thing that Neil Armstrong said. Good luck, Mr. Gorpsky. That's an old dirty joke. It's the Family Show. If you don't know what it is, look it up yourself.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to go with, from the 80s TV show Sledgehammer, Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
All right. Or as Reagan would say, trust but verify. Dan, if you talk about passive-aggressive, imagine, I trust you, but I'm just going to verify it. Wait a minute. Drew in Upper Darby. Drew, what's yours?
Hey, Dom, thanks. As soon as you said Patrick Henry, my wheels got rolled. I'm going to go with Nathan Hale. As soon as he got taken prisoner by the English when they threatened his execution, his famous words were, "My only regret is I only have one life to lose for my country." Thanks, Dom.
Thank you, Drew. You know, that kind of tops even Patrick Henry, Dan. This guy wishes he could be killed multiple times.
That's one of the finalists today, I think.
Oh, yeah. Squeeze it's got to be quick. Joe in Westchester. Joe, yours.
All right, Dom. This quote, the drill sergeants, when I was in basic training in the late 60s, like to use.
Joe, you got to tell me, what is it?
A few of them. Okay, it was from George Patton, all right, the tank commander in World War II.
So we got to know.
He said, "No poor bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He wins it by making the other poor bastard die for his country."
Absolutely right. Patton, a great quote. Dan,
first one out of the box was a really clever one. Mark in Northeast saying, "I'm pregnant, a wife to a husband."
Yes.
Completely world changer. I also like "You're fired," both meme-worthy and the implications on personal life. But that last one, "My only regret is I only had one life to lose for my country." Also good, Dom. Where are you going?
I'm going with the pregnancy. How about you?
Yeah, I'm with you. Mark in Northeast.
All right,
great
it's
answer.
the winner. Great stuff today. We're loaded. Mike Rowe joins us tomorrow. And what the heck might have gone on in Wildwood? Rich Cioli next. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be a